One single day in Canada can be a pretty strange mix. You've got serious politics, global diplomacy, and, pickles. So today, we're going to pull on that thread and see what it tells us about where the country is at right now.
I know. It sounds like the beginning of a really weird joke, doesn't it? But just stick with me here, because the answer actually tells a pretty fascinating story about one single, very complicated day in the life of this country. So we're going to connect these dots, things that seem totally random, and by the end, we'll have a much clearer picture of the national mood. Everything from the big debates on Parliament Hill, right down to the fast food drive-thru.
Okay, so first, let's just get right into that national mood, because underneath everything else that's happening, there's this one feeling that's just bubbling up, a growing sense of anxiety across the country. So if you strip away the headlines and all the political noise for a second, what's the one thing that's truly dominating conversations? From coast to coast, what's the real pressure point?
It's money. It's the economy. Recent polling makes it absolutely crystal clear. The rising cost of everything, groceries, gas, housing, that is the #1 concern for Canadians. And that pressure, well, it's causing some major ripple effects in the political world.
And that widespread worry about money is directly reshaping the political landscape. We're talking about a really significant power shift.
Yeah, for the first time in a while, new polling is showing a pretty big change. The Conservative Party is now actually leading the governing Liberals in public support, and that's a direct reflection of that economic mood we were just talking about.
I mean, this headline from the Hube really says it all, doesn't it? It draws a straight line from the numbers in our bank accounts to the numbers in the polls. So the key thing to get here is that this isn't just some political game, it's a direct response to real kitchen table economic stress.
So, with all that pressure building up at home, the government is looking abroad, trying to shore up some key relationships.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is in the middle of this multi-stop tour of Europe right now, and the main goal is to strengthen partnerships both economic and defense-related. This is especially important with some of the ongoing trade turbulence we see with the U.S. And this number, wow, this really shows the scale of the commitment we're talking about. During his stop in Kyiv, the Prime Minister announced a massive $2 billion military aid package for Ukraine. That signals a huge foreign policy priority.
But the trip isn't just about defense. In Germany, the talks are all about securing supply chains for critical minerals. The stuff that's essential for everything from electric cars to defense technology. It's a really strategic economic play.
But while the government's making these big moves on the world stage, things back here at home are, well, they're a bit of a mixed bag. Some good news and some serious gridlock.
So let's start with a bright spot, the good news. According to their latest earnings reports, Canada's big banks have actually weathered the storm of U.S. tariff threats pretty well. They've avoided those worst-case scenarios a lot of people were worried about. So a little moment of stability in a shaky economy.
But that stability, it definitely doesn't extend everywhere. In fact, in sharp contrast, the negotiations between Canada Post and its union have just hit another wall. Talks have been postponed for a second time because the union rejected the latest offer. And get this, right now there's no new date even on the calendar.
Okay, so after all that talk of polls and tariffs and stalemates, are you ready for a hard pivot, a complete change of pace? Because the national conversation today also included something very, very different.
That's right. While diplomats and negotiators were doing their serious work, one of Canada's biggest fast food chains apparently decided it was time to get a little weird.
KFC Canada has launched a pickle-obsessed menu. And yes, you are reading that correctly. They are offering something called a Pickle Pepsi, which apparently includes actual pickle brine. It's a quirky and maybe a little questionable distraction from all the heavier topics of the day.
So, we've got polls, diplomacy, and pickles. How in the world does all of this weave together to tell one single story?
Well, when you lay it all out like this, you really start to see the full picture. It's a nation grappling with really serious issues. You've got economic anxiety driving political change. You have a government trying to secure Canada's place on the world stage, ongoing labor tensions, financial resilience, and, pickle-flavored soda. It's all happening at once.
So maybe that's the real takeaway here. It shows a country that's balancing these huge global pressures with very real anxieties right here at home. A place where nation-defining events happen on the exact same day a corporation tries to sell us pickle pop. It really makes you wonder, right? When you're trying to understand a country, is it the serious headlines that tell you the most, or is it the strange little distractions we all seem to reach for?